Very good morning to all of you, my friends. I hope you all are doing good. In the last session, in the last two sessions, we were discussing standard costing. Sorry, in the last three sessions, we were discussing standard costing. So today is the last session of standard costing. I hope you guys have solved all the questions of material, labor, and fixed overhead variances. So I'll give you a brief about whatever I have discussed till now, and then I'll just check if you have any queries in the conceptual part of material, labor, and fixed overhead. Thereafter, I'll be putting up one or two questions on fixed overhead to check that whether you guys are thorough with the concepts or not. So let me check if there are any queries. Good morning, Yogita. Very good. I really appreciate your efforts. Very good morning, Yogita, and very good, dear. Very good morning to every one of you. Very good, Mantanjali. So you guys have any conceptual queries in material, labor, and overhead? Guys, please do ask me whatever the queries you have. So just giving you a little brief about what we have discussed in these classes. We started first of all with the material variance, wherein we discussed material cost variance, which was standard quantity into standard price minus actual quantity into actual price. Thereafter, we discussed material price variance, wherein it was standard price minus actual price into actual quantity. Thereafter, we discussed material usage variance, wherein the formula was कितना use होना चाहिए था, कितना use actually हुआ into the standard price. Thereafter, we discussed material mix variance, wherein what should be the mix, क्या mix होना चाहिए था, that is the standard mix, actually क्या mix हुआ minus actual quantity into standard price. When talking about material yield variance, I have discussed an easier concept, wherein the formula further is that is given in the material is study material is standard quantity minus standard mix into standard price. I have discussed the concept in detail. No worries, Rajiv Kumar Das. Very good, Rafika. Very good, Ritika. I'll be discussing variable overheads also. Don't worry, my dear. So this is all what we discussed in the last session. Now moving towards the next part, that is labor variances, wherein we first discussed labor cost variance, which was standard R into standard rate minus actual R into actual rate. Further, it can be divided in two parts, that is same like material labor rate variance, that is standard rate minus actual rate into actual hours. Thereafter, labor time variance, Standard hours minus actual hour paid into standard rate. Thereafter, idle time variance. That is idle hours into standard rate we have discussed. Thereafter, we have discussed labor mix variance also. Wherein the standard mix minus actual hour worked into standard rate. And last, labor yield variance. That is standard hours minus standard mix is into standard rate. This is what we discussed in labor variances separately. Now, after completing the labor variances, we started with fixed overhead variances, wherein the first variance what we discussed is fixed overhead cost variance. This talks about under or over absorption of overheads. Further, we discussed fixed overhead expenditure variance. It talks about कितना खर्चा होना चाहिए था, that is budgeted fixed overhead minus actual fixed overhead. When talking about volume variance, it talks about the units part, that is कितने यूनिट बनाने चाहिए थे और हमने कितने यूनिट बनाए. So how much extra units if we are manufacturing, it will be favorable for the company. Thereafter, fixed overhead calendar variance, what we discussed, wherein how much days we were supposed to work and how much days we actually worked. If we are working for extra days, that is my budget days are 23 and my actual days are 25. It means we have worked for 2 days extra, so it will be favorable for the company. Thereafter, we discussed fixed overhead capacity variance. When talking about capacity variance, it talks about the hours work. That is, what is our capacity? हमारी capacity क्या थी और हमने कितनी capacity पे काम किया. So let's say if my budgeted capacity is for 30,000 hours and my actual hours worked is 32,000, it means I worked above my capacity. So it is a favorable variance. Next is fixed overhead efficiency variance. That काम कितने duration में खत्म करना चाहिए था and how much time we actually took to complete the work. So if it is inefficiency, it will be adverse, and if we are performing efficiently or if the work is done in an efficient way well before time, then it is this variance is favorable. So this is all what we discussed till now. Let me check if there are any queries in any questions. Pooja, PS, both approaches are correct. Either you can consider idle time variance in the second stage itself, or you can consider idle time what I have discussed in the third stage itself. So both the approaches are correct, Pooja. You have to practice a lot, Yashashri. I have discussed more than some. I mean, my discussion is more than sufficient on mix and yield. Very good, Riya Jaiswal. I'll be discussing this query separately, Nidhi Pari. So now, in the last session, at the end of the session, we finished the concepts of fixed overhead variances. So let's discuss few more things on fixed overhead variances, wherein I will be putting a question in front of you to check out that whether you guys are thorough with the concepts of fixed overheads or not. So let's start with the question. So guys, following is the information given in the question. that is budget and actual. The budgeted hours are given, the budgeted units are given, the budgeted days are given, and fixed overheads are given. So fixed overheads are 1,20,000, hours are 30,000, units are 45,000. "24 days, the actual days are 23, 1,50,000, 47,000 and 31,000. So this is the question for you guys. The similar question what I have discussed, that is the hours are given, that is the budgeted hours. The actual hours are given, that is 31,000. Budgeted units and actual units are given, that is 45,000 and 47,000. Days are given, that is 24 and 23, and fixed overheads are given, that is 1,20,000. Sorry, 1 second. So 1,80,000 and 2 lakh. So you guys have to calculate all the variances starting from fixed overhead cost variance, fixed overhead expenditure variance, fixed overhead volume variance, fixed overhead fixed overhead calendar variance, fixed overhead capacity variance, and fixed overhead efficiency variance. So waiting for your answers, guys. Please solve the question right now itself and please post your answers. So waiting for your answers, guys. I have got the answer from Neha Murarka for the cost variance. So guys, let's see who solved first. So waiting for your answers, quick guys. Okay, Neha, your answer is correct. Waiting for your answers, guys. This is the question. Neha, further, I just want your explanation that it is adverse or favorable. Sorry. I've got answers from many. 1 second. Okay, Akash Neil, very good. Your cost variance is correct. Manthanjali, correct answer. Very good, guys. Sumit, very good. Shruti, very good. Poonam Sharma, your answer is incorrect. I'm surprised. Poonam Sharma, incorrect answer. Atulya, incorrect answer, my dear. Sorry, Miss Atulya, sorry. Your answer is correct. Hitesh Jain, incorrect answer. Please calculate the correct answer. Your calculation is incorrect. Feba Biju Thomas, again incorrect answer. I'm surprised why you are not getting the answers. Still few are not being able to solve the question. Shruti, your answer is correct, but please check whether it is adverse or favorable. Mohammad Farad, incorrect answer. Charuka Maheshwari, correct answer. Mantanjali, correct answer. Both the answers are correct, Mantanjali. Muskan Kumari, very good, correct answers. Ankur Patel, correct answer. Shivam Singh, correct answer. Nalini C, cost and expenditure, both are correct, Nalini. Very good. So Hitesh Jain and Feba Biju Thomas and Poonam Sharma, your answers are incorrect. Mohammad Farad, your answer is incorrect. Pooja PS. Okay, your answer is incorrect, Pooja. Sumit, incorrect answer. Shruti, correct answer. Mr. K, fixed overhead cost variance, you have got 8,000 favorable. How come? Please give me your explanation. Your answer is incorrect. Expenditure variance, Ramakrishna, correct answer. Muskan Kumari Gupta, correct answer. Mr. K, correct answer. For expenditure, Rajiv Kumar Das, your cost variance is correct. Okay, I have got answer from Sumit for volume variance. So volume variance is volume variance is correct, Sumit. Akash Neel, correct. Rafika Memon, correct. Kaveri Pagare, your cost variance is incorrect, my dear. Amrit Pal, cost, efficiency, volume, all are correct. Very good. Expenditure variance, Hitesh Jain, correct. What about cost variance, Hitesh? Poonam Sharma, again your answer is incorrect for cost variance. Ravi R. Ravi Jyoti, I think so. It is, your answer is incorrect. Mantanjali, your volume variance is correct. Charuka, expenditure variance is incorrect. Charuka, just check 1 0 is missing. Vaishali Agrawal, your cost variance is incorrect. Expenditure variance is correct. Sorry, cost variance is, all the answers are correct, Vaishali. Sushil Kumar, correct answer. Kaveri, expenditure variance is correct. But I'm waiting for your cost variance, Kaveri. Neha Murarka, again, cost variance is incorrect, my dear. Ankit Gupta, cost variance is incorrect. So guys, let me give you a brief about cost variance. 1,80,000. 1,80,000 खर्चा होता है. The expenditure on 45,000 units. So on 47,000 units, how much? 1,80,000 divided by 45 into 47. That is 1,88,000 are my absorbed overheads. And my actual overheads are 2 lakh. So this will be 12,000 adverse. This is fixed overheads cost variance. When talking about expenditure variance, very simple, straight away. $20,000 adverse. Volume variance, 45,000 units we were supposed to manufacture. We manufactured 47,000 units. That is 2,000 units extra we manufactured into the rate per unit. So 180 divided by 45. So this will be 4. So accordingly 8,000 favorable. Now let me check the answers of calendar variance, capacity variance and efficiency variance. So Mohit Chaudhary, please recheck your answer. This is the way you have to solve. I request you to please refer the lecture, the previous lecture wherein I discussed fixed overhead concepts in detail. Don't try to apply formulas, Mohit. I've got answers of calendar variance also. 1 second. I've got answers from Preeti Panchal. Can you help me out with that? Which variance you have calculated? So I've got answer from Akash Neel. Akash, your answer is correct. Very good, Akash. Poonam Sharma, now your answer is correct. Chogle Shraddha, your answers are correct. Yogita Kumar Devda, you need to practice a lot. Your answers are incorrect. Charuka Maheshwari, correct answer. Atulya, correct answer. Okay, I've got answer from Manthanjali for capacity variance also. So let me check the capacity variance and all are correct or not. Neha Murarka has also answered. Neha, your calendar variance is correct. Let me check the capacity variance. No worries, waiting for the capacity variance. Neha Murarka, I don't think your answer is correct for capacity. Amritpal Kaur, let me check the calculation once again. Okay, Amritpal Kaur, the capacity variance is favorable. Very important, the capacity variance is favorable. Arvind AS, very good. All the answers are correct, I think. All the answers are correct, Arvind. Ankur Patel, correct answer. Ritika Verma, Rafika Mehman, all the answers, I think, sorry. Please check your capacity variance, Rafika. Charuka Maheshwari, check whether it is adverse or favorable. These 3 points are very simple. I just want answer of these 3 points now. Nalini, it is adverse. Please check your calculation once again. The major issue what the students are facing is that whether the variance are adverse or favorable. So still few are not being able to answer it correctly. Okay, Manthanjali, your answer is correct. Ritika Verma, it is adverse, so correct. Efficiency variance, Hitesh Jain, let me check. Incorrect answer, Hitesh Jain. Kaveri variance, Kaveri Pagare, correct answer. Capacity variance, Manthanjali, very good. Your answers are correct. Neha Murarka, calendar variance is correct. Your capacity variance is incorrect. Okay, Sneha B, your answer is incorrect. Ankit Gupta, correct answer of calendar variance. Chetra Heber, overhead volume variance correct. Efficiency variance incorrect. Expenditure variance correct. Cost variance, please check. Capacity variance, if it is, then it is correct. The incorrect answer again. Most of the students are not being able to answer the capacity variance. Very good, Sushil Kumar. Your answer is correct. Tanya Patkar, your calendar variance is correct. capacity variance, very good, it is correct, and efficiency variance, it is correct. Efficiency variance, Nidhi Parekh, correct. Capacity variance, I just want to know it is adverse or favorable. As far as calculation is concerned, it is correct. Shivam Singh, calendar variance, it is correct. Capacity variance, incorrect answer. Ankur Patel, capacity variance, yes, it is correct now. Poonam Sharma, calendar variance, incorrect. Capacity variance, बिल्कुल भी correct नहीं है. Miss Atulya, calendar variance, correct. Capacity variance, very good, correct. Vaishali Agarwal, calendar variance, it is, yes, it is correct. And efficiency variance, incorrect, Vaishali. Akash Neel, efficiency variance, आपका गलत है. Please recheck your calculation. Shruti, incorrect answer. Shruti Kumar 2002, I don't know. So it is incorrect answer. Efficiency variance, Miss Shruti, incorrect. Capacity variance, Murarka Neha. Now it is correct. Nidhi Parekh, calendar variance, it is adverse or favorable. Please tell me, Neha, capacity variance is correct now. Again, Yashashri, your answer is incorrect. Kaveri Pagare, fixed overhead capacity variance, incorrect. Isha Jaiswal, can you please repost all your answer? I think I skipped it. Ankit Gupta, okay, cost variance is correct. Expenditure variance is correct. Volume variance is correct. Efficiency variance is correct. Capacity variance correct. And calendar variance correct. So very good, Ankit Gupta. Rafika Memon, incorrect answer for efficiency variance. Sumit, capacity variance is incorrect. Neha Murarka, it is adverse, not favorable. Isha Jaiswal, your capacity variance is incorrect. Ravi R, your capacity variance is incorrect. Muskan Gupta, your capacity variance is correct. Charuka Maheshwari, incorrect answer. Neha Murarka, it is correct now. Pooja, capacity variance incorrect. Nidhi Parekh, okay, let me check. Nidhi, cost variance is correct. You have to mention adverse and favorable, then only I will comment on your answer. As far as calculation is concerned, it is correct. Chogle Shraddha, calendar variance correct. Kanani Rutvik Kumar, Hasmukh Bhai, capacity variance incorrect. Miss Atulya, correct answer now. Very important, guys, calendar variance. The work was, we were supposed to work for 24 days, but we worked for 23 days only. That is, it means my staff were present, absent for 1 day, we can say. It means हम लोगों ने एक दिन काम कम किया, so it is adverse first of all. Now, how much? 1 day into the rate per day, that is 1,40,000, 1,80,000 divided by 24. So 75,500 per day. So this is 7,500 adverse. Next is capacity variance. When talking about the capacity, we have the capacity of 30,000 hours in 24 days. So in 23 days, how much? In 23 days, it will be 28,750 hours. So we were supposed to work. We have the capacity to work for 28,750 hours in 23 days. But we work for how many hours? 31,000 hours. It means how many more hours? 2250 hours extra into the rate per hour, that is 180 divided by 30,006. So it will be 13,500 favorable. When talking about efficiency, so 30,000, 45,000 units, 30,000 hours. So for 47,000 units, 31,333 hours, and we actually took 31,000 hours only. So it means we worked efficiently into the rate per hour, that is 6. So this is 45,000 units, 30,000 hours. So for 47,000 units total, 31,333.333 hours. But we actually took 31,000 hours only. So how much hours we saved? 333.333 hours into the rate per hour, that is 6 per hour. So you'll get 2,000 favorable. So this is the way you guys have to solve the questions. I request you guys to please copy the solution. Yes, Prabhas Jain, I'll be putting up one more question on fixed overhead. I'll be addressing your query on illustration 11. Don't worry, I'll be explaining all the illustration. We have sufficient time. Further variable overhead variances will not take more than 10 minutes. So don't worry, guys. The company worked for 25 days with 8-hour shift and 200 workers, and 1 unit take standard time of 1.5 hours. Further, the company has budgeted overheads of rupees 2,40,000. The actual results company worked for 27 days with 8-hour shift. So you guys have to calculate all the variances. So this is the question wherein the company worked for 27 days with the total hours worked is 47,000. The actual overheads are 3 lakh. And further, when talking about the actual production, it is 0.9 unit per hour. So waiting for your answers, guys. Point 0.9 it is. A slight change in the question. Sorry, to avoid the points, decimal figures. Sorry guys. There is a slight change in question to avoid decimals. Neha Murarka, please check your expenditure variance. Guys, there is a change in question. It is 1.5 units are manufactured every hour. Okay, Neha Murarka, your answer is correct. Ankit Gupta, you have calculated the cost variance. So let me check. It is 1.5. As I told you, first try and prepare the table and then calculate the answers. Waiting for your answers, guys. First, you have to prepare the table and then post your answers. When talking about days, it is 25 and 27. Let me check, Mr. Farad. Incorrect answer. Yes, answer. Yes, Akash Neil, your answer is correct. Akash Neil was able to calculate the cost variance first. So Akash Neil, your answer is correct. Manthanjali, expenditure variance is very easy. First calculate the cost variance. Mohammad Farad, incorrect answer. Mohammad Farad, now your expenditure variance is correct. I'm looking for cost variance. Okay, so I've got answer from Rekha. Rekha, your answer is correct for cost variance. Expenditure variance is correct. Shrinjani Sinha, very good. Your cost variance and expenditure variance both are correct. Pooja PS, very good, correct answer. Pradeep Gupta, correct answer. Charuka Maheshwari, cost variance incorrect. Nalini C, very good. Your answers are correct. Sir, actual production unit. Tanishka Batra, you just calculate the cost variance directly. Okay, I've got answer from Arivin S. Was waiting for your answer, Arivin. Cost variance is incorrect. Expenditure variance is, cost variance is correct. Expenditure variance is also correct. And volume variance also. Very good, Arvind AS, your answers are correct. Okay, very good, Rajiv Kumar, your answers are correct. Mohit Chaudhary, cost variance correct. Aniket Srivastav, very good, correct answers. All your answers are correct. Sumit, cost variance incorrect. Chogle Shraddha, cost variance incorrect. Manthanjali, I need to check the calendar variance. I'm waiting for your cost variance calculation, Manthanjali. Chetra, fixed overhead cost variance is incorrect. Expenditure variance is correct. Neha Murarka, calendar variance. I'm waiting for your cost variance, Neha. Muskan Gupta, incorrect answer. Waiting for the cost variance first of all, guys. Please don't post your answers on expenditure variance. I know that sabko aata hai expenditure variance. I just want the cost variance first of all, guys. Okay, Kanani Rutvik Kumar. Please recheck your answer. Pradeep Gupta, again your volume variance is correct. I'm waiting for the cost variance answer. When talking about hours, it is 25 days into 8 hours into 200 workers. So this will be 40,000. And the actual hours is given, that is 47,000. When talking about the units, the budgeted units are how much? 60,000. And the actual units are 42,300. When talking about overheads, the overheads are 2,40,000 for budget and 3 lakh for actual. So half of the work is done. Half of the work is done. Now you guys can easily calculate the cost variance. Okay, Harshita Maurya, cost variance 0. Kahan se aaya? Please give me your explanation. So fixed overhead cost variance, very simple. 2,40,000 overheads on 60,000 units. So on 42,300 units, how much? 169,200. These are the absorbed overheads, and the actual overheads are 3 lakh. So this will be 1,30,800. Now, guys, please post all the 3 answers together. Don't post individual answer. I'm waiting for your answers for calendar, capacity, and efficiency. Everyone, please post all the answers together so that I can understand that who are able to solve all these 3 points. Very important. These 3 answers, that is calendar, capacity, and efficiency. I just want 3 answers only. That's it. No other answer. Post all your answers together. Just want these 3 answers, that is calendar, capacity, and efficiency. So, okay, Arvind, I've got your answers, calendar, capacity, and efficiency. Vaishari Agarwal, calendar variance. Again, I'm waiting for calendar, capacity, and efficiency. Post your answers together. No worries, Neha, that's completely okay. No worries, Ankur, that's completely okay. Okay, I've got an answer from Harsh. I've got answer from Arivin and Harsh, all the three answers together. And I think your answers are correct. Hitesh Jain, be quick in calculations. Waiting for these three answers only, that's it. Pradeep Gupta, please mention the name. Okay, I've got answer from Ankit Gupta for calendar and capacity. Ritika Burma, don't post individual answer. Just post all these three answers together, Ritika. No worries, Sumit, that's completely okay. I've got answer from Manthanjali, Shivang Singh, Hitesh Jain, Preeti Panchal, Muskan, Mohammad Faraj, Shinjini Sinha, Sneha Anand, Muneha Murarka, Akash Neel, Pradeep Gupta, Nidhi Parikh, Manthanjali. Everyone, guys, where is Tanishka Agarwal, Vijay Durya, Rafika Mehman, Tanishka Agarwal, Rajiv Kumar Das, Nalini C. Waiting for your answers, guys. Hitesh Jain, Yogita Kumar Devda. Waiting for your answers, guys. Most of you were able to answer it correctly. I think now maximum of the students are thorough with the concepts that where to put adverse and where to put favorable. So calculating the calendar variance for you guys, 25 days, 27 days, so 2 days extra into the rate per day, that is 2,40,000 divided by 25, that is 9,600. So this will be 19,200 favorable. So now moving towards the next part, that is capacity. So 40,000 hours in 25 days. So 27 days, how many hours? 43,200 hours. But we work for how many hours? 47,000 hours. That is, we worked above our capacity. So we were supposed to work for 43,200 hours, but we worked for 47,000 hours. So 3,800 hours extra we worked into the rate per hour, that is 6. So 3,800 into 6, 22,800 favorable. The next part, that is efficiency variance, wherein 40,000 hours for 60,000 units. So for 42,300 units, we were supposed to work for 28,200 hours. I repeat again, 40,000 hours for 60,000 units. So for 42,300 units, how many hours we were supposed to work? 28,200 hours. But the actual hour taken are 47,000. So 18,800 hours is our inefficiency into the rate, that is 6. So this is 1,12,800 adverse. When talking about the units, it is 4 per unit. The rate is 4 per unit, and when talking about hours, it is 6 per hour. I request you guys to please copy the question and the solution, giving you 2 minutes time. I appreciate your efforts, and most of the students were able to solve the question correctly. Mohit Chaudhary, Janvi, Tisha, Manthanjali, Shruti. Shruti, please check your efficiency variance and capacity variance. Rafika Mehman, everyone. Pooja, everyone was able to answer correctly. Arvind AS, Madhuri Nikhare, your calendar variance, please check. Capacity variance, please check, Madhuri. I request you guys to please copy the question and solution, giving you 2 minutes time. So please copy this part. Budgeted overheads are 2,40,000. Miss Atulya, both the approaches are correct. If you put it in the second row also, it is correct. If you put it in the third row also, correct. But yes, if you put it in the second row, then the labor time variance will change. Ritika Verma, all your answers are correct. Very good, Ritika. Prabhas Jain, very good. Yes, Madhuri, I have checked your answer. I have received answer for so many. So I think I skipped your name. I'm sorry, Madhuri. Your capacity variance was, I think, incorrect, and efficiency variance is incorrect, Madhuri. Neha Murarka, it is 2,40,000. Yes, Prabhas Jain. Anyways, both the approaches are correct. You can calculate it in units form also and hours form also. Both the approaches are correct. So guys, enough of discussion on fixed overhead. I hope you guys are thorough with the concepts. Both the approaches are correct, Akash Neil. Indirect material is an overhead, my dear. So guys, now let's start with the next part of the chapter, wherein we will be discussing variable overhead variances. No need to memorize the formula, Pooja. There is a query from Sushil Kumar, sir. Please explain the efficiency variance once again. So very simple. The budgeted production was 40,000 units. Sorry, the budgeted hours were 40,000 and the budgeted production was 60,000. Sorry. So 60,000 units in 40,000 hours. 60,000 units in 40,000 hours. Our actual production was 42,300 units. So how many hours? Very simple. 40,000 hours for 60,000 units. So for 42,300, how many hours? 28,200 hours. It means 42,300 units should be completed in 28,200 hours. But the actual hours we took is 47,000. That is how many hours extra? 18,800 hours extra into the per hour rate, that is 6 per hour. This is how I got 1,12,800 adverse. Harshita, in volume variance, see, if we have calculated the units, we will use the rate per unit. Herein, we have calculated hours, so we will use the rate per hour. Very simple. If we have calculated the days, we will use the rate per day. Now, guys, let's quickly finish off the variable overhead variances. Very simple. So herein, let's say the information is given. So let's say the units are given, that is 30,000 and 32,500. Let's say hours are given, that is 30,000 and 33,000. And variable overheads are given, that is 60,000 and 70,000. So guys, these three information are useful for calculation of variable overhead variances. Even if the days are given in the question, these days are not used in calculating variable overhead variances. So only three informations, three details are required. That is hours, units. No worries, Rajiv Kumar. That's completely okay. Hours, units, and variable overhead. So the first part is variable overhead. Variable overhead cost variance. So very simple, similar to the approach, it talks about under or over absorption of overheads. So 60,000 overheads for 30,000 units. 60,000 overheads for 30,000 units. So for 32,500 units, how much? 65,000. And we actually spent 70,000. So this is 5,000 adverse. The calculation is similar to fixed overhead cost variance. No worries, Rajiv Kumar. I hope you are thorough with the concept of efficiency variance. Now, when talking about variable overhead, again, variable overhead keeps on changing as per hours or units produced. So under or over absorption is already calculated. When talking about the hours, it also changed according to hours. So 60,000 overheads for 30,000 hours. So for 33,000 hours, how much? As I told you, fixed overhead remain constant. So accordingly, we have simply calculated the fixed overhead variances as budgeted overheads minus actual overhead. But herein, variable overheads keeps on changing. So 60,000 overheads for 30,000 hours. So for 33,000 hours, how much? 66,000. We were supposed to incur, and wherein we incurred 70,000. So it is 4,000 adverse. Further, when talking about the next part, that is variable overhead, efficiency variance. Again, the calculation is similar to fixed overhead. Very important, guys. This calculation and this calculation is similar to fixed overhead. Herein, when talking about expenditure variance, yes, the calculation is a bit different. So when talking about efficiency variance, very simple. 30,000 units, 30,000 hours. 1 unit will take 1 hour. So how much was our actual production? 32,500 units. So it will take 32,500 hours. But the work was completed in 33,000 hours. So 500 hours is my inefficiency into the rate per hour, that is rupees 2. So this will be 1000 adverse. So that's it all. What about variable overhead variances? Very simple, guys. This calculation and this calculation will remain same, just like we calculated in fixed overhead. But yes, when talking about expenditure variance, it will change as per hours. So I request you guys to please copy. I request you guys to please copy the question and the solution. The variable overhead concepts is that much. Further, if idle hours are given, if days are given, you have to simply ignore in calculating variable overheads. Okay, there is a very good query from Kaveri Pagare. Sir, what if the answer amount is written correct, but favorable or adverse is wrong? Then the total answer will be treated as wrong. Yes, you will simply get a 0 for all your calculation and hard work. Very important. You have to write it correctly whether the variance is adverse or favorable. So very important. If your calculations are correct, but you are writing adverse instead of favorable, you will simply get a 0. Nothing more than that. Not more than that. So please copy this part. This calculation and this calculation is same. As far as this calculation is concerned, variable overhead will change according to hours. No, sir, we are not on break. If you guys have any queries, any doubts, any confusion, you guys can ask me. I'll be putting up a question now for you. And it's not a basic question, it's a bit on the trickier side. So 1 second, guys. You have to show the calculations also. So anyone having any doubts, any queries in this variable overhead can please ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. You have to show each and every working, Harsh Kumar. Waiting for your queries, guys. Any doubts in material, labor, fixed overhead and variable overhead? Whatever the queries you have, you guys can please waiting for whatever the queries you have, you guys can please post your queries. The conceptual queries, the chapter is over from my side. So if you have any conceptual doubts, you guys can ask me. Subhash Dete, when talking about variable overhead calculation, it is similar to what we have discussed in fixed overhead. That is, 30,000 units will take 30,000 hours. It means what? 1 unit should take not more than 1 hour. It means 1 unit should take not more than 1 hour. So where herein our actual production is 32,500 units. It means my work should have been completed in 32,500 hours only. But for this 32,500 units, I took 33,000 hours. It means there is an inefficiency of 500 hours. So 500 hours inefficiency into the rate per hour. Yes, Rajiv Kumar Das, that's it. Muskan Kumari Gupta, it is all what about fixed overhead cost variance, that's it. Very important, guys, do make a note of it. Even if the days information of days is given, even if the information of idle hours is given, you guys have to simply ignore for calculation of variable overheads. Yes, let's say my actual hours worked are 1 lakh. Very important. Let's say my actual hours worked are 1 lakh. Of this, 10,000 are idle time. 10,000 hours are idle time. So when talking about efficiency, it is only 90,000 hours which are actual hour work. But no need to calculate idle time variance separately while calculating variable overhead. I repeat again, let's say my actual hour worked are 1 lakh. Of this, 10,000 hours is my idle time. It means while calculating efficiency variance, we'll be using only 90,000 hours. Mohammad Farad, it is not fixed overhead. Variable overhead keeps on changing. That's why I have not done 60,000 minus 70,000. I'll be discussing the practical questions, but let me discuss one question. Apart from this, I'm just asking, do you guys have any conceptual queries? You guys can ask me. Thereafter, I'll be discussing few queries of yours. That is question number 11. Few students are facing difficulty. Question number 14. Few students are finding it difficult. Illustration number 6. Illustration number 12. So I'll be discussing this part separately. Don't worry, guys. So now a question for you guys. The actual output is 9,000 units. Direct wages paid is 1,10,000 hours at the rate 22 per hour, of which 5,000 hours being idle time. Standard hour is 10 hours per unit. Standard hour is 10 hours per unit. Now, very important, labor efficiency variance is given. And that is 3,75,000 adverse. Labor efficiency variance is given, that is 3,75,000 adverse. Further, standard variable overhead is rupees 150 per unit. Further, actual variable overhead is 16 lakh. You are required to calculate labor idle time variance total variable overhead variance, that is variable overhead cost variance, variable overhead expenditure variance, and variable overhead efficiency variance. So I repeat again, actual output is 9,000 units. The direct wages paid is 1,10,000 hours at the rate 22 per hour, of which 5,000 hours is idle time. The standard hours are at 10 hours per unit. Labor efficiency variance is 3,75,000 adverse. Standard variable overhead is 150 rupees per unit, and actual variable overhead is 16 lakh rupees. So waiting for your answers, guys. Prabhas Jain, when talking about divided by budgeted units into actual units, that is, we will calculate first of all the absorbed overhead minus the actual overhead. This is how the cost variance is calculated. So in cost variance, very simple. The formula is absorbed overheads minus actual overheads. But when talking about expenditure variance, it's very simple, budgeted fixed overhead minus actual fixed overhead. So that is the difference. That is, when talking about expenditure variance, straight away you have to solve. But when talking about cost variance, you have to first calculate the absorbed overhead. Now, how to calculate absorbed overhead, I have discussed this in detail in this chapter as well as the overheads also. So I hope, Prabhas, your query is resolved. Adarsh Mishra, what if the data in weeks is given? Very simple, you have to follow the instruction as given in the question. Rashmin Kumar Majitia, when talking about how to solve a missing figure question, just follow the thumb rule. That is, what all tables I have prepared. If it is material labor based question, then follow the same table, that is budget, actual and revised standard. Put up all your figures and just put a question mark on the missing figure, and then apply your concepts and calculate all the missing figures. But very important thumb rule is convert the question in the tabular form the way I have discussed. Himanshu Gupta, can you please explain in detail how you have calculated idle hour variance? Himanshu Gupta, can you please explain your calculation, my dear? Your answer is correct, Himanshu Gupta. So guys, I request you to please take the screenshot. I'll be taking 10 minutes break. In the meanwhile, I request you to solve the question in the break. So guys, let's take a break of 10 minutes and then we'll be back with the solution of this question. So let's take a break of 10 minutes, sir. Sir, please put it on break, sir. Admin, sir. Admin, sir. Admin, sir. Yes, sir. Break. Welcome back, guys, after a break, much needed. So let's see who has solved the question. I have got answer from Himanshu Gupta. Labor ideal time variance, and Himanshu Gupta, yes, your calculation is correct. Nalini, incorrect answer. Himanshu Gupta, your answers are correct, I think. Let me check. Yes, Himanshu, your answers are correct. Harsh, incorrect answer. Very good, Nalini, your answer is correct. All your answers are correct, Himanshu. So Himanshu has solved the complete question and his answers are correct. So very good, Himanshu. Shrinjani Sinha, incorrect answer. Sushil Kumar. Very good, Sushil Kumar. Your approach is correct. So please proceed with the remaining part of the question, Sushil Kumar. Idle time variance is incorrect, Sushil Kumar. Aniket, but your approach is correct. Aniket Srivastav, incorrect answer. Very good, Nalini. I appreciate your efforts, and I'm happy that you are able to solve the first part of the question. That is idle time variance. So your answers are correct. Okay, Harsh, your answers are incorrect. Akash Neel, incorrect answer. Sushil Kumar, incorrect answer. Preeti Panchal, I'll surely try to address your query. Please recheck your answers, Nalini. I think your expenditure variance is incorrect. Subhash Dete, incorrect answer. Madhuri Nikare, variable overhead cost variance. 1 second. Your cost variance is correct, but expenditure and I think efficiency variance is incorrect. Idle time is also incorrect. Aniket, incorrect answer. Ashwini Shetty, incorrect answer. Pooja, incorrect answer. Nalini, your cost variance is correct, but expenditure variance is incorrect. Yes, Madhuri, waiting for your correct answer. Shrinjani Sinha, your answer was incorrect. Rajiv Kumar, Rafika Meman, Akash Neel, Prabhas Jain, Swati, Sneha, Preeti Panchal, Rashmin Kumar Majitya, Mohammad Farad, Sakshi, waiting for your answers, guys. Yes, Pooja Dayaram, your cost variance is correct. So, guys, very important in this question, the details are given as regards labor also and variable overheads also. So, first and the foremost thing, we don't have the standard wage rate per hour. Very important. This direct wages paid is 1,10,000 hours at the rate 22. This is the actual wages paid, actual rate, but standard rate is not there. So with the help of efficiency variance, we will first calculate the standard wage rate per hour. So labor efficiency variance. So the work was supposed to be completed in 10 hours. The time taken is 10 hours per unit. It means the actual output is 9,000 units. It means what? the work was supposed to be completed in 90,000 hours. I repeat again, very simple. The approach is very simple. The way we were solving standard hour, standard rate and amount, actual hour, actual rate and amount. The same table. So when talking about the standard hours, so one unit take 10 hours. So 9,000 units will take 90,000 hours. But the standard rate is missing. So we cannot calculate the total amount. However, when talking about the wages paid, 1,10,000 is the actual wages paid at the rate 22 rupees per hour. So 1,10,000 into 22, this will be 24,20,000. Of this, idle hours are given, that is 5,000. So actual hours worked is how much? 1,05,000. So when talking about labor efficiency variance, कितने घंटे में काम हो जाना चाहिए था? 90,000 hours में. The work was actually completed in 1,05,000 hours. The work was supposed to be completed in 90,000 hours, but the work is completed in 1,05,000 hours. Into standard rate, this should be equal to minus 3,75,000. So this is minus 15,000 into standard rate is equals to minus 3,75,000. So standard rate per hour will be how much? So this will be rupees 25 per hour. So now we can easily calculate the total standard cost of labor. So 90,000 into 25. So this will be 22,50,000. Further, idle hours are given. That is 5,000 hours. So into 25, this will be 2,25,000. So idle time variance we have calculated. Sorry. In the similar way we have discussed herein the revised standard. One unit take 10 hours. So 9,000 units will take 90,000 hours. So this is my revised standard hours. Standard rate is not there. However, actual hours paid are given, that is 1,10,000 at the rate 22. So this will be 24,20,000. Now this rate is missing. However, efficiency variance is given in the question. So when talking about efficiency variance or yield variance, whatever it is, the work was supposed to be completed in 90,000 hours, but we took 1,05,000 hours after deducting idle hours. So 90,000 minus 1,05,000 into standard rate. So this is the way we have to calculate idle time variance. Arvind AS, incorrect answers. All your answers are incorrect. Arvind, the reason being this 22 is the actual rate. And when talking about the idle time variance, we have to multiply it by standard rate. Isa Jaiswal, very good. Your answer is correct. Pooja, incorrect answer. So 1,10,000 is the actual hours paid. Of this, 5,000 is the idle hours. So when talking about hours worked, it is 1,05,000. I request you to please copy this part, guys. Muskan Kumari Gupta, sir, please explain it once again. Very simple. I am solving the question in the same format what we discussed till now. No new thing. Very simple. The budgeted data is not given. However, they have given that standard hour is 10 hours per unit. It means one unit take 10 hours. So 9,000 units will take 90,000 hours, but the standard rate is missing. However, actual rate is given, that is 1,10,000 hours at the rate 22, that is 24,20,000 hours. Further, idle hours is also given, that is 5,000. So actual hour worked will be 1,05,000. So efficiency variance, we call it as standard hours. कितने hours में काम हो जाना चाहिए था? 90,000 hours. कितने hour में actually काम हुआ? 1,05,000 hours. Because 5,000 is idle time. Into standard rate, this should be 3,75,000 adverse. So accordingly, I have first calculated the standard rate per hour, that is 25, and then further I have calculated idle time variance. No worries, both the approaches herein, there are no two or more than two types of labor. There is only one type of labor, so we have to take it in the second level only. It is 1,25,000, guys. Guys, I request you to please copy the presentation part, that is of idle time variance. I am done with the calculation of idle time variance. The first part is over. Now the remaining solution. When talking about cost variance, very simple. Very simple, guys. The standard rate is given. That is the budgeted variable overhead divided by budgeted units is given, that is 150 per unit. So into actual units. So 9,000 units into 150. इतना खर्चा absorb होना चाहिए था. 9,000 units into 150. That is 13,50,000 should be our cost. But how much cost we actually incurred? Very simple. 16 lakh. So this is 2,50,000 adverse. You guys have to be very thorough with the concepts, very clear with the concept. I mean, you guys have to be picture perfect with the concept to solve this question. 1 second, there is a query. Yes, Miss Bish. Ek simmer kaur, I'll be surely keeping a query session. Don't worry, my dear. So cost variance is done. What we generally do in cost variance, budgeted overhead divided by budgeted units into actual units. So budgeted overhead divided by budgeted unit. The absorption rate is already given in the question, that is rupees 150 per unit. So accordingly, 9,000 units के ऊपर absorbed overheads कितना होगा? 13,50,000, and the actual overheads are 16 lakh. So therefore it is 2,50,000 adverse. Now very important, variable overhead. expenditure variance. As I discussed, it changed according to hours. It talks about the due to change in hours. So very simple. What we used to do is budgeted overheads divided by budgeted hours into actual hours. That is what we used to do, minus the actual variable overhead. So here in this case, budgeted overhead divided by budgeted hour, we will be requiring the standard rate per hour. So when talking about standard rate per hour, see the standard variable overhead is how much? Standard rate per unit is how much? 150 rupees per unit. And each unit take 10 hours. So per hour rate will be rupees 15 per hour. I repeat again, guys. Very simple, guys. It is given in the question that the standard variable overhead is 150 rupees per unit. And one unit take how many hours? 10 hours. So it means the rate per standard rate per hour is how much? 15. So very simple, guys. This should be the per hour rate 15 for 9,000 units. This should be the overhead for 9,000 units. That is 1,35,000. Sorry. This should be the rate for how many hours we actually work. Sorry, guys. This is rupees 15 per hour. This is rupees 15 per hour. So how much should be the rate? Total overheads that were supposed to be incurred, that is 15 per hour into 1,05,000. We have to deduct the idle time. So 15 into 1,05,000. This will be 15,75,000 we were supposed to incur. But the actual overheads are 16 lakh. So 25,000 adverse. Further, when talking about efficiency, the concept is the same. Very simple concept. That is, the work was supposed to be completed in how many hours? That is 9,000 units into 10. That is, the work was supposed to be completed in 90,000 hours. But we actually took 1,05,000 hours. That is 15,000 hours extra into the rate per hour, that is 15. So 2,25,000 adverse. It's a bit tricky question. So if you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. I repeat again, when talking about variable overhead expenditure variance, what we calculate is we calculate the budgeted rate per hour into actual hours. So budgeted rate per hour is already given in the question, that is rupees 15 per hour, into the actual hours, that is 1,10,000, the actual hours minus 5,000 idle hours. So 1,05,000. So 15 into 1,05,000, that is the expenditures what we were supposed to incur is 15,75,000. But we actually incurred is 16 lakh. So this is how I got 25,000 adverse. Very good, Poonam Sharma. See guys, in this question, actual hours are given, actual units are given, and overheads are given. But very important, straight away they have not given the standard hours, standard units and overheads. However, they have provided us the following data, that is standard variable overhead is 150 per unit. Further, when talking about standard hours, they are saying that it is 10 units, 10 hours per unit. And talking about the overheads also, it is given that the overheads are 150 per unit, and talking about the hours also, this information is given that is 15 per hour. So somewhere this information which was supposed to be given is not given. However, the data required is given. That is the cost per unit is given, the cost per hour is given. So that is more than sufficient, and the production per hour is given. So all these three information is given. So accordingly, we can calculate the labor variances. Pooja Dayaram, Rajiv Kumar Das, since the budgeted units are not given, so we cannot construct the table. However, the budgeted cost is given, that is budgeted cost per unit is given, budgeted hours per unit is given, and further we can easily calculate the hours required per unit is also given. So accordingly, we will calculate the variances. Now there is a query from Pooja, sir, how I got 1,05,000. So very simple, Pooja, total actual hours worked are 1,10,000. Out of this 1,10,000 hours, 5,000 is idle time hours. So it means the hours actually worked is 1,05,000 hours. Shrinjani Sinha, please recheck your answers. There is no treatment of idle time, Sneha Anand, in the variable overhead. It is covered in fixed and labor costing and labor variances. Yes, Mantanjali, well said. The rates are given. That is the standard rate per hour is given. Per hour is given, that is 15. Rate per unit is given. That is 150 rupees per unit. Further it is given the standard time per unit is given. That is 10 hours. So this information is more than sufficient in any questions to calculate the variable overhead variances. We always take the standard rate for calculating idle time variances, Nalini. Sneha Anand, we do not calculate idle time variance in variable overheads. So guys, enough of discussion on this question. Now there are some queries in the study material. So let me address all your queries in the study material. So guys, you guys can post your queries of study material. I'll be addressing all your queries of study material. Okay, in illustration, do you guys have any doubts? I'm talking about illustration only. So if you guys have any doubts in illustration, you guys can ask me, waiting for your queries, guys. I'm talking about illustration, guys. Yes, Neha Anand, we will deduct the idle time and we will take the balance hours worked only when talking about the variable overheads. So guys, quick. We have 20 minutes now, and in 20 minutes, I'll try to address all your queries of study material. So guys, please tell me. First, I'm talking about the illustration. So I'm discussing the illustration first. So please post your query if you guys have any doubts in illustrations. Okay, I have got an answer. I have got a query from Charuka. Thank you, Sushil. So I've got a query from Charuka Maheshwari, illustration number 11. So guys, I'm preparing the table for illustration number 11. So very important, guys. Very simple illustration number 11. Study material. So let's start, guys. Let's prepare the table, that is budget and actual. This question is on fixed overhead. So herein a company has a normal capacity of 120 machine working 8 hours per day of 25 days in a month. The fixed overheads are budgeted at 1,44,000 per month, and the standard time required to manufacture one unit is 4 hours. In April 2021, the company worked for 24 days, 840 machine hours per day, and produced 5305 units of output. And the actual overheads are 1,42,000. So you have to calculate the various variances. So let's start, guys. So when talking about the variance, it is days, hours, units, and fixed overhead. So herein, when talking about the budgeted days, it is given 25 days in a month. So budgeted days are 25 days in a month. And the actual days are 24 days in a month. Further, when talking about the hours, very simple, guys. It is given 120 machines are there, and they are working for 8 hours in a day into 125 days. 120 machines are there. They are working for 8 hours per day into 25 days in a month. So 24,000 are my budgeted hours. Further, it is given that the budgeted fixed overhead are 1,44,000. So 1,44,000. As far as the units calculation is concerned, standard time required to manufacture one unit. One unit take 4 hours. One unit, 4 hours. And we have hours. So 24,000 divided by 4, we will get 6,000 units. Now, when talking about the actual data, it is given that 24 days, 840 machine hours per day. So 24 into 840, that is 2160 hours. We have actually worked. As far as the units is concerned, it is 5305 units. And the overheads are 1,42,000. So that's it. The hard work is over now. You guys can easily calculate the variances. So those who have posted query on illustration number 11, do you guys have any doubts in illustration number 11? Please tell me. Charuka Maheshwari. I'm done with illustration number 11. Very simple. Once the table is ready, you guys can solve the questions. So Charuka, hopefully your doubt is resolved. Please answer, Charuka. Okay, now illustration number 6, guys. Illustration number 6, that is the standard output. हाँ जी चारुका, आप शो कर सकते हैं, नो वरीज एट ऑल. Akash Neil sir, how you did dividing? See Akash Neil, in the previous question, the cost given is standard cost per unit is how much? 150 rupees per unit. Standard cost per unit. I'm discussing the previous question. Akash Neil is left out with a query. So Akash Neil, the standard cost given is 150 rupees per unit, and it is further given that one unit take 10 hours. एक यूनिट बनाने में 150 रुपीज खर्च होता है एंड वन यूनिट टेक 10 आवर्स. इट मींस द कॉस्ट ऑफ 10 आवर इज व्हाट? 150 rupees. So the cost per hour will be how much? Rupees 15 per hour. Yes, Rajiv Kumar Das. You can solve in the tabular form, don't worry. So illustration number 6, I am discussing of in study material. So the standard output of product EXE is 25 units per hour. In manufacturing department of a company employing 100 workers. So herein, they are saying that the standard output is 25 units per hour in manufacturing a department of company employing 100 workers. Matlab, in simple terms, 100 workers are working for 1 hour to manufacture 25 units. So we can say my budgeted output is 25 units and it takes 100 hours because 1 hour is given and they are employing 100 workers. So total 100 hours for 25 units and the rate is given, that is 6. Now when talking about the actual data, 42 hours a week the department produced 1040 units. So the actual output is 1040 units. Now, when talking about the hourly wages, it is given that there are total 3 types of worker. But when talking about the standard rate, it is given that all workers are paid to be paid at a flat rate of 6%, 6 rupees. However, the company bargained, and the data is given as that in a 42 hours week, the department produced 1040 units despite 5% time paid being lost due to abnormal reasons. The hourly wages actually paid are 6.2, 6 and 5.7 to 10, 30 and 60 workers. So 10 into 42, that is 420. 30 into 42, that is 1260. 2520. So total will be 4200 hours, and they are paid accordingly. Further, idle hours are given in the question for 3 category of worker, and it is 5%. So 420 into 5%, this will be 21. So actual hours worked we will get, that is 420. Of this, 5% is the abnormal idle time. So 399 will be the actual hours worked. Similarly, out of 1260, 5% is idle time, that is 63 is idle time. So the hours worked will be 1197. For 2520, again 5% is the idle time, that is 126 hours are idle time. So 2394. So my total hours worked are 2394, 1197 and 399. So 3990. That is actually 95% of 4200. And this will be 210. So this is my actual hour worked. Now, very simple guys, revised standard, 25 units for 100 hours. So 100 hours take 25 units. So when talking about the revised standard, 100 hours for 25 units. So for 1040 units, how much are 4160 hours? 100 hours for 25 units. So 1040 units, how many hours? 4160 into 6. So now my table is ready. So the hard work is all over now. This is the data given in the question. This is the data given in the question. This we have calculated, that is idle hours. That is 5% of the hours worked is idle hour. So 420 into 5%, 21. So 420 minus 21, 399. 420 minus 21. 1260 minus 63. 2520 minus 126. So I hope you guys don't have any query till now. I think No worries, Rajiv Kumar. Yes, Madhuri will try to. Don't worry. Please check illustration number 6. Are you guys now done with illustration number 6? Do you guys have any query? Waiting for your answers, guys. Do you guys have any query in illustration number 6 now? Quick, guys. Clear हुआ या नहीं हुआ? Waiting. Because most of the students were facing queries in illustration number 6. Okay, many students are facing doubt in illustration number, I think it is 14. Okay, I'm discussing illustration number 14 since the time is running. Still, if any queries are left out, I'll be discussing in the query session. One query session is already allocated to me after marginal costing. So I'll be starting with the marginal costing in the next chapter. I want you to pay attention to this chapter. This chapter has practical utility. As far as from examination point of view, it is very important. So I'll be discussing marginal costing. I'll be discussing many questions on marginal costing. Plus, I'll be giving you many questions in the live session also to make sure that you guys are thorough with the concept. But before that, let's start with illustration number, practical question number 14. Further, I request you to please take the screenshot of this table, please. Please do take the screenshot, guys. So discussing practical question number 14. JK Limited manufacture NXC by mixing 3 raw material. For every batch of 100 kgs of output, the input required is 125 kgs. In the month of April, total 60 batches were prepared to produce an output of 5,600 kgs of NXC. The standard and actual particulars are given below. So that is the standard mix is given and the standard price is given. Okay, actual mix is given and actual price is given. It's a very easy question. So guys, let's start. So A, B, C, 3 types of raw material, quantity and price. The output is 100 units. 125 is the input. We'll assume that normal loss is 25, or else we can simply write that for 125 inputs, we are getting 100 units as output. And further, the ratio of input is given, that is 50% of 125, that is 62.5. %30 is given, that is 37.5. And 25. Further, the price is given, that is 20, 10 and 5. When talking about the actual data, the actual output is given, and that is 5,600 kgs. The actual price is also given, that is 21, 8 and 6. When talking about the inputs, it is given that there are total 60 batches. So it means 125 into 60 batches. So my actual input will be 7,500. That is 125 kg input into 60 batches. Now this 7,500 should be in the ratio of 60 is to 20 is to 20. So 7,500 into 60, that is 4,500, 1,500 and 1,500. My actual output is given anyways, that is so now 99,000, 12,000, 94,500. So this is how I got my actual input. Now, very simple guys, when talking about the calculation of revised standard, that is, we have to convert it into 5,600 units. So very simple guys, for A, 62.5 for 100 units. So for 5,600 units, how much? For B also 37.5 for 100 units. Our output is 100 units. So for 5,600, how much? For C also 25 for 100 units. So for 5,600 units, how much? So again, the hard work is all done. Very simple question. If you guys have any doubts in practical question number 14, you guys can ask me. Practical question number 14. I'm discussing practical question number 14. So if you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. This is the easiest way to solve the sum. So if you guys have any doubts, you guys can ask me. Nidhi, the answer will be different, my dear. If the number of workers are changed, the hours, the total hours will be changed. So the answer will be different in the previous question. It is practical question number 14. I repeat again, guys. For every 125 input, we are getting 100 units as output. So my output is 100 units and my input is 125 units. This should be in the ratio of 60:30:20. So 125 into 60%, 125 into 30%. जिन लोगों का भी प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चन नंबर 14 में डाउट था वो रिजॉल्व हुआ या नहीं, प्लीज वेटिंग फॉर योर आंसर्स गाइस. Prabhas Jain, illustration number 12 is very simple. So don't worry if you are not being able to solve it, try to solve it again. If you are not being able to solve it, I have a query session after approx 4 sessions. So after finishing of marginal costing, I'll be discussing your query first. Don't worry. Pooja PS, when talking about how I got 7,500, it is 125 into 60. Still, there are few more doubts. That is practical question number 4, illustration number 12. So don't worry, guys. I'll be discussing illustration number 12 in the query session. It is 9:40. So, guys, now the chapter is over. Try to memorize all the concepts. Try to solve all the questions of study material. That is the practical question as well as illustration. Plus, if you have time, do solve all the question of past practice manual. Further, there is no alternate of hard work. As I told you in the previous sessions also, try to solve each and every question in writing. I'm specifically mentioning in writing. I assure you guys, you'll be able to clear the exams in one go if you practice, practice and practice. But one more thing, using the concepts rather than the formulas. So guys, thank you so much. The chapter is over. See you guys in the next session with marginal costing. I think today is Friday. So see you guys on Monday with a fresh chapter, that is marginal costing. I'll be discussing the concepts of marginal costing. Apart from this, we'll be putting up n number of questions in front of you to check whether you guys are thorough with the concepts or not. So till then, don't enjoy your weekend, but better, please try to solve the question first and then enjoy your weekend. So thank you so much, guys, for participating in the session. And thank you so much, guys, for your time and patience. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much, guys. Admin sir, I'm done.